United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that the United States will not dictate Africa's choices. Blinken was speaking to reporters at the end of the three-day U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. The Biden administration used the summit, a follow-up to one held in 2014 by Barack Obama, as the latest part of a charm offensive with leaders of African nations. The administration is looking to strengthen relations with those nations as China has surpassed the U.S. in trade with Africa and is aiming to grow its military presence. The continent is crucial to global powers because of its rapidly growing population, significant natural resources, and sizable voting bloc in the United Nations. Some leaders who took part in the summit made clear that they want the Biden administration to steer away from forcing them to choose between the United States and its global competitors when it comes to trade matters. On Thursday, Biden formally announced that he supports the African Union becoming a permanent member of the Group of 20 nations. He also announced plans to spend $2 billion to help bolster food security on the continent and $165 million to help African nations carry out peaceful and transparent elections next year. United States President Joe Biden and African leaders attended the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, posed for a family picture. The summit is the first of its kind since African leaders came in 2014 to see Barack Obama, whose successor, Donald Trump, made no secret of his lack of interest in Africa.
We committed to ensuring African countries have a prominent seat at the table. Wherever consequential decisions are being made, consequential issues discussed, we delivered on that. At the United Nations General Assembly in September, you heard President Biden express support for adding a permanent member from Africa to the UN Security Council. And this week, the President announced support for the African Union to join the G20 as a permanent member. We offer investments that are transparent, high quality, and sustainable for the planet. We empower local communities. We respect the rights of their people. We listen to their people, to their needs. America will not dictate Africa's choices, neither should anyone else. On food insecurity, we provided more than $11 billion over the last year to address global hunger and improve nutrition. Much of this assistance has gone to African countries, which have been disproportionately impacted by the drivers of hunger: COVID, climate, and conflict, and by President Putin's war on Ukraine, which has made a serious crisis much worse. Since January of 2021, we've dedicated massive resources toward this very goal: solar energy in Angola, wind power in Kenya, hydro energy in Ghana, and a new $100 million project that the President announced to expand off-grid access to solar energy. And that's just to name a few of the initiatives and projects that we're working on. And then the bottom line ultimately is this: wherever we've seen Wagner deploy, countries find themselves weaker, poorer, more insecure, and less independent. That's the common denominator. That's the common story across the board. Not simply a matter of what's happening to Ukrainians in Ukraine. It's a matter for all to be concerned by, because it goes to the very principles that were established after 2 world wars and after colonialism, to try to make sure that there are rules and understandings that one country's not going to go in and change the borders of another by force. It's not going to engage in land grabs.